if you guys heard it, but we're all wearing the same hat.
I'm doing the ASMR part of the episode.
This is our usual intro. We hope no one's offended.
Ethan, lick those lips in front of the mic.
Of course.
Oh, wow. Okay. Welcome back, y'all. Hey, welcome to the Operation Unlimited podcast. Very special episode today. We got our homie, our awesome, amazing new trainer, protege, Ethan Compuzanos. Can we get a round of applause?
What's up, Ethan?
What's up?
How you doing today?
I'm doing very good, actually.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, for once, I'm 22 years old. I'm Hispanic. I love fitness. I've been into fitness for, I'd say, close to a year now. I've been on and off training 4 years. This has been the most consistent I've been and most into. I've been into fitness. I always wanted to help people, but I never knew how did I want to help them. At first, I wanted to be a nurse, but that interchanged into wanting to help people in a different way.
Right.
And once I found that way was into fitness, making people feel better about themselves, but also making them healthier as a person.
So what made you, you're saying you wanted to help people, but what made you want to help people specifically when it comes to fitness?
Knowing how to build their body and sculpt their body. People struggle with doing that. There's people that work out for months on months on months. They barely see any results. Obviously, they don't have people there guiding them, or even if they do like search of videos or they have certain people guiding them, they're not getting it, or the way they're learning isn't the right way they're learning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fitness information out there that's not coherent,
shitty,
right,
and proper.
100%.
So they're giving themselves that false image and false information that, most, people online be putting out, or saying, hey, I got this body in a short amount of time, while in reality, they're under substances or peds.
Well, and so my next question was going to be, what is your style of training? And it sounds like, at least my guess, based on what you're saying, is that you probably teach people how to bodybuild.
Yeah, so bodybuilding is the art of sculpting your body, as every bodybuilder tries to sculpt their body in the best way possible. Sure. Whether it's growing their chest, their upper, their lower, their middle chest, it doesn't matter. Any body part that they sculpt, they do it for detailing and for muscle mass as well. So it's a work of art. What most people care about nowadays is aesthetics. They don't really care about big size or if they're like a decent size. As long as they have aesthetics, that's what people want. What people want is either a movie star look, or they want like that frat boy that gets every girl out there.
Okay.
Get me? Or they want to be that one popular kid in school that's always been built and has a nice body. That's what people want.
Yeah, I mean, at least what resonates for me from what you just said is, growing up, being, an athlete, but also being a late bloomer, I was always concerned about, trying to get bigger or have bigger muscles, because that would help my confidence, right? And so
I think a lot of people started off like that. A lot of people in the fitness space in general, like trainers, they kind of come initially from that place of insecurity, and then they kind of, I don't think overcome it, but they get to a
start
place,
building themselves.
They start to build themselves up
where they're at.
Exactly, and then that's what makes a lot of us fitness professionals want to share that knowledge with other people, I think.
And I think too, like what that speaks on is like the emotion behind it, right? So people get into it not because, they do want bigger muscles.
They do want bigger muscles, but they're doing it because there's reasons behind it, whether it's like they're going through something mentally or they're going through a physical situation. Most people start working out because they're heartbroken.
They want to feel better. They want to feel better.
Exactly.
And it's emotion. And I think a good trainer isn't somebody that can just teach you how to do a bench press to build your chest, like you're saying, but it's somebody that empowers another individual to change the way that they train, or changes the way they live. And I think that's much more emotional than it is physical. And so, that's what I really hear from what you're saying. And I think that's, important. Like, that's why you want to help people.
I think the biggest translation that you can derive from getting passionate about fitness is that it really teaches you the art. Speaking of art of bodybuilding, right? Fitness in general teaches you the art of self-development. you know, and it teaches you discipline, and it teaches you like how to set a goal and how to achieve that goal, and it teaches you,
and it gives you that confidence that you never really had in yourself.
Exactly, because you
sacrifice.
Some people, exactly, yeah.
Some people from the start, they have confidence. Other people build them.
Right.
And some people never get it at all. Whether it's because they don't want to get it or they're too afraid to go out there and try to get it.
Right.
I never grew up with having confidence as a kid. I was bullied. I was literally one of the skinniest kids at school.
Yeah.
I never really worked out. I always wanted to be that popular kid. I always wanted to be fit. Wanted to do a team sport. I never did it because I didn't have the confidence in myself. Yeah. But the moment I did is when my life started changing around.
Mm-hmm. Right. When you stepped outside of that comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where you make the most progress. And that's with any individual. Just because you're not confident about it doesn't mean you can't do it. Just because you're nervous about it doesn't mean that you could just stop there. Mm-hmm. You got to keep going. Otherwise, you're never going to break that threshold and you're never going to make a better version of yourself where you should have started from the beginning.
Sure. Yeah. No, 100%. So next question I have for you, or I think I know the answer to this, but for the audience listening, as we introduce you as a new trainer or somebody that's a part of this brand, what about, you know, our brand or our situation, you know, made you want to be a part of what we're doing?
The reason why I wanted to be a part of OU is just due to the fact that you have diligence in dealing with your clients. You love the fact that they're improving themselves as time goes by, and you enjoy what you're doing compared to what most people do is that all they want is money. Mm-hmm. And obviously, yes, training comes with money, but ultimately the whole purpose is to help the people that you have in front of you and to care for them and to nurture them into the person that they want to be.
Yeah. Right.
The self-improvement, the self-diligence that fitness comes with, you're instilling that onto them and teaching them the right way instead of them losing themselves and quitting the gym and not doing what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on everything that Ethan's been saying, the reason we wanted Ethan to be part of OU is because of that same passion and because of, you know, that diligence to his clients. You know, I've seen you train and you're detail oriented and you have high energy, which I think is really important. And you also just have a lot of potential as a trainer because I see how you train personally. You work hard, man. We would see Ethan in the gym, no joke, 3-hour sessions twice a day. Mm-hmm. He would spend 6 hours in the gym that we were working at. And eventually it was like, man, like we can't stay away from this kid. Mm-hmm. Like, you know,
well, that's really how this relationship was built. Is because this fool was in the gym just as long as we were, and we were trainers up in there working.
Hey, it would get to the point where they would even see me sleep in the grass area.
This dude would literally fall asleep, y'all, in the training zone at our old gym. And so he literally sleeps at the gym. He's a gym rat. Yeah. And that's the attitude that you need. We want people that are hungry and people that care about the change that we want to affect. And so super happy you're a part of OU, man, and looking forward to everything that we're doing.
And I appreciate the fact that y'all invited me to this group and 100%. Are mentoring me into becoming a better trainer.
Absolutely.
As y'all didn't have that when y'all were there in the beginning.
That's exactly what it is, man.
Me, with my first client, I'm giving him an opportunity that I never really had. Yeah. And having that one person there detail everything that you have to do in and outside.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. I'm glad you're a part of the team. And, you know, I think there's, you know, more than just the fitness aspect as to why, you know, I feel like our paths have all crossed, and I think it's because you have a lot of that business mind that a lot of trainers don't typically have when they start off, and I think that's what really elevated me and Paydyn out of our you know, corporate gym situation, and that's what's gonna ultimately be the success, or you know, the factor that's gonna result in your success as a trainer is having that entrepreneurial mindset, like, you know, bringing ideas like affiliate supplements and things like that to us, bring those ideas to the table. So we really appreciate that too.
And to any trainers that are out there either watching this or listening to the podcast, you will learn pretty fast into your training journey, if you do want to be a trainer, that is a piece that you're going to have to understand, specifically nowadays. Like training is going in that direction, whether it be virtually or like the hybrid model for training.
Hybrid for sure. Yeah.
But also just in general, if you want to carve out a life for yourself, a comfortable one, and finances isn't everything, but you know, driving a fitness business takes money and takes revenue. And so if you want to work for yourself and really give yourself as much opportunity as a good trainer really deserves, you're going to have to make that leap, just like we did from corporate to private. Or if you start like Ethan, straight into private, which is obviously such an advantage and so awesome for him. Really make sure to put the research and the time into understanding how to create a platform for yourself and not have to go through the big corporations to do so. So that's a huge piece of it. And Ethan's ahead of the game on that. I mean, I wish I had the perspective that he has when I was his age. And it's only 5 years ago, but a lot can happen in 5 years.
Definitely. So talk to us a little bit. So we've been kind of addressing trainers and the business side of training for a little while. Tell us, Ethan, what do you think are some of the most common roadblocks with your clients in terms of seeing results? Like whether it be in the gym, like physically, like what they're actually doing in the gym as far as movements and programming and stuff like that, or like mindset and habit building. And, what do you think from your perspective as a trainer those major roadblocks are?
I mean, it depends client per client, but for, some of my clients, they struggle like getting that last rep in or having that mentality saying, hey, I could still do it, instead of just giving up on the weight or whatever it may be, knowing possibly they could still keep going. Some of my clients struggle with that, or
like
whether it's
toughness
outside of the gym and they have a little hiccup and they eat something that they're not supposed to, it kind of revolts back, because obviously if their goal is to lose weight, adding onto something that you shouldn't add on, like pizza or liquid calories that shouldn't be there, that's gonna stall the progress of them losing the amount of weight they're supposed to lose that week. Ultimately those are like usually like the roadblocks that they mess up in, but obviously that's with everyone messes up with one thing. There's not one single thing that a person can't mess up.
Or multiple things. And like I think what you're saying goes back into a little bit like the hybrid model. Like I think me and Bryce definitely could speak to this, because in the corporate gym you don't have that same access to somebody that you may through the hybrid model or through more modern training. And so when you are able to coach or navigate lifestyle more than just the strength training, that's really going to be the key to success, specifically for weight loss, because you just said it. The diet portion of it is so huge, and you can't control that, or at least influence or empower somebody if you're, don't have that line of communication outside of the gym.
Like the thing with most personal trainers is when they try to like dial in nutrition and stuff like that, they just give it to the person. But ultimately, it's up to the person to decide whether they want to do it or not. But the whole reason why they bought that, or whatever it may be, is due to the fact that you could guide them, or you could be there, whether it's physically, whether it's on the phone or through text. The whole point is that one text could make them change on the way they eat, or it could prevent them from doing something that they should not.
That's so true. Like the more touch points you have with the client, the more likely they are going to succeed. The more engaged you can keep somebody, the more habits you can tick off, the more like boxes you can check more consistently. That's really what it comes down to. And I think we've talked about it on the show time and time again, that it really, like, the working out part is the least of most people's worries.
Honestly,
it's really the habit. It's the habits.
It's the habits they build. It's the habits that you could help them build.
Exactly, and that's what really drives that real success, the long term success. Because there's people lose weight all the time. Like I mean, we've seen with our clients numerous times. People typically, they yo-yo diet, and they're on the wagon for a month, 2 months at a time, then they fall off. They lose a little bit of weight, they gain it right back. They're good on the diet for 4 days in a row, and then they have 3 days after that where it just goes to shit. So,
but you know what also helps though is having that good relationship with your client.
Yeah.
So that way they won't hide something from you, but instead tell you. That way you could pinpoint that and dial whatever you need to dial in and adjust to that.
It's that open line of communication.
Exactly. If you have a bad relationship with your client, you really think they're gonna like want to tell you, or they're just gonna hide things, and you're not gonna be able to help them out the way that you need to help them out.
Yeah, that's actually such a good point, because I think at the end of the day, like when you're building that relationship with your client, it is so important, like you're saying, to have that rapport, because this is a vulnerable spot for people, and it's going to be hard for them to admit to when they're messing up, but that's where you really have to draw that line in the sand. And me and Bryce, I think, have experienced a lot of this early in our transition to private. Now that we do have more access to our clients and we're involved in a larger portion of their life, it's important to set boundaries and let them know at the end of the day, this is for you. And so if you're tracking and we decide not to track something because of the influence we may have on that, the reaction we may have as trainers, that only ends up hurting them at the end of the day, right? So they have to understand the only person, and it sounds so cliche, that they're cheating if they do not log that, cheat meal on MyFitnessPal is themselves. And that's a hard conversation to have, but a good trainer is able to have that conversation and is able to empower their client to work with themselves where they're at. If you have to take a step back and start a little bit slower, I think that's always an advantage because we want to create sustainability. And if you try to do too much too early, it's just not going to happen.
Do well, and they're not going to want to do it.
They're going to start to yo-yo. They're going to fall off the wagon.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I mean, moving forward, so we have a lot of merch coming out recently. We just had Ethan in the studio taking shots, representing the brand, which is super cool. Ethan, tell us a little bit about your philosophy in terms of business. What do you see your role in Operation Unlimited becoming as we start to continue to grow?
For the most part, I see myself in the social media aspect and training people.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
just to explain, sorry to talk over you, Bryce, just to explain maybe from a business aspect, right? We're talking so much about this side of training, how Ethan might be involved from a logistics standpoint. We've done a lot of back end work over the last couple of years, developing this brand, automating and streamlining all the systems that we have. And so the same platform, whether it be through the gym that we're using or the software we're using to program or how we're accepting money and managing our finances, the same way that a corporate gym might do that for us, we're able to do that for trainers like Ethan. Yeah. And so we're able to provide that same platform for him. We're giving him a better deal than the man or the corporate gyms, but also we're giving him the knowledge and experience to understand how to build that for himself. I'm sure in the future, as we get more developed, we might come out with coaching or some kind of way to provide that value
for trainers. He means
exactly, or that experience to trainers that want to know how to skip that. What's that hoop?
Yep.
That is the corporate gym world. But that's just a little insight into how we're involved with Ethan from a back end standpoint.
Yeah, no doubt. Any thoughts on that, Ethan? Anything?
So I mean, from what I'm getting at is you saying once we get big to a certain extent, both of y'all are mentoring me. I'm going to be the one mentoring the trainers below me while y'all are the ones doing the back end stuff and growing the company while we're doing the training aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's a trickle down, and Bryce will probably get into this. I mean, that's what it is with knowledge in general, right? The one generation, whether we're talking life generations or we're talking just a couple years of training experience, you have to pass it on to the next group because that's how information, continues to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really, as for anyone who's been really following our journey and following the content that we produce and put on social media and the podcast and everything, there's a lot of moving pieces with everything that we got going on. Obviously our bread and butter is personal training. Right now with most of our business coming from in person, and then very soon, opening our books for online clients. We've got all of our systems in place for that, but. I think that's the special thing about what we're building is it's just a community, a platform for trainers, a community for, the everyday average fitness enthusiast or someone who may not be an enthusiast quite yet, somebody who's, just starting out on their journey. So, there's a lot of stuff that we got coming. I'm really excited about the direction we're going. And I just can't wait to see our growth the next few months. So I think that's pretty much all we got time for today. I know it was a shorter episode. Any closing remarks from either of you guys?
Nah, man. I mean, welcome to the team, Ethan. Happy to have you here.
Yes, sir.
Anybody that's listening, we appreciate you watching. Like Bryce said, this is just the beginning of our journey, but it didn't just start at the same time. So we appreciate anybody that's followed up to this point.
When we blow up on TikTok and we have 1 million followers, and everyone's like, "Oh, it was an overnight success." It's a classic story of it not actually being overnight.
Yeah,
so
we've been working.
So, all right, if you've been listening for this long, we appreciate your ears. We appreciate your attention. Keep checking us out. Tune into the next episode. You can catch us all on Instagram. I'm at Bryce J. Gibson. Paydyn is at his first name, Paydyn. Ethan, go ahead and drop the handle real quick. What's your at?
Primitive_Ethan.
There we go,
Got
folks.
it.
Check us out on Operation Unlimited. Check us out at operationunlimited.com or operationunlimitedstore.com. And until the next episode, thanks for listening. Peace.